Social distancing at the chamber, another episode of Happy Hour with Hammer. My name is Garrick Taylor. Glenn, for Happy Hour tonight, we have a special guest. The fans demanded that Courtney Coolidge come back on the show.
She always gets big ratings. So
yes. Courtney reporting live tonight from her childhood bedroom. So she's on.
I am. San Diego, California. Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Through the power of the internet, Glenn. We can do this thing from anywhere. All right, topic one, it's endorsement season. A number of organizations have put out endorsements for the legislature. The chamber is no different. Glenn, before we get to the endorsements themselves, you've talked about a desire to forge a governing center, a governing majority. What do you mean by that?
Right now, particularly in a time of a pandemic, the more bipartisan support you have for any effort, the better. And when you're in a chamber, you're in the business of getting things done. And over the course of many years, Garrick, we've worked with different coalitions. Sometimes it's been a bunch of Republicans and a few Democrats. Sometimes for some of the issues, it's been a lot of Democrats and a few Republicans. But I'll say that for most of the issues that we've worked on that have advanced the state of Arizona, we've had bipartisan support. And it's always healthier when you have bipartisan support, because when governments change, you have support to keep those policies. For us, it's very important to have good Republicans. We want to have good Democrats. We've been very lucky that we've had a great governors to work with over the past many years, and we want to keep getting things done. So, I felt that, but before we turn it over to the guest star of the show, I want to thank you and Courtney for all the work you put in on the endorsement process. We've been doing this a while. I feel that the process this year was the best yet, and the results will serve the chamber and the state of Arizona well going forward.
All right, Courtney, we, as reported by our friends at the Yellow Sheet Report today, it's a mix of Democrats and Republicans, incumbents and challengers. How do we arrive at these decisions when we issue an endorsement?
Yeah, the chamber endorsement process is really rigorous. We take a lot of time to review their policies, how they'll be for the business community. This is done in a couple ways. So for incumbents, we have scorecards. We see how they voted with us on chamber priority issues. And for newbies, for challengers, we have a questionnaire that we send out to everyone. Everyone has the opportunity to fill it out. And then we review those and we schedule candidate interviews. This year was especially fun because of COVID. It was a different process. We did our candidate interviews completely digitally. So we had each candidate come in, interview jointly with us in the Phoenix Chamber, and we each then reviewed those interviews and issued our separate endorsements. They go through a board vote, and our board takes these very seriously in reviewing candidates. So we ultimately arrived at a list of pro-business legislators, whether that's Democrat or Republican, and you'll see on our website that it's a strong mix of
when an incumbent or a challenger does not receive an endorsement, the three of us on this call will often hear about it. But Courtney, I think that's an important point, though. This goes to our membership, and we ask our membership how we ought to land on these important races. We can make recommendations, but ultimately it's up to the board, and that's the recommendation we'll follow.
Yeah, and it's important to note that our board constantly reviews these, right? So, the primary elections coming up, we made some endorsements that we thought were prudent right now, but it doesn't mean that more endorsements aren't going to be considered for the general election. So this is what decision we arrived at now, but we're constantly adapting as election races change.
Glenn, we hope you don't mind, but this year, any complaints we got about our questionnaire, we just gave them your cell phone number.
Well, I'm screening, so all good thus far. And yeah, occasionally I do get calls, but I'll say this: our process is a good one. It's a rigorous one. It's a fair one, and it's one that I'm proud that over the years there's a heart and a soul to it. We definitely reward those that work to get things done, and we also understand not all districts are the same. We do, but our job at the end of the day is 16, 31, and 1, and that's how we change Arizona, and we keep it getting better and better.
This year's choices from the business community. I think we've done our due diligence, Glenn and Courtney, because if you see what other chambers or other business groups have put out, a lot of commonality in the endorsements, a few differences, but not many. I think the business community is really looking for the same thing, not just policy purity, but a willingness to listen, to work, to forge good common sense policy, workhorses versus show horses.
And I would say there was also an emphasis, we appreciate the opportunity to make the case. There's some legislators where they will vote at a higher level than others. That's true. But some who vote, say, maybe less with us than we would like, are extremely gracious and find key areas to work with us. And again, what I like about this process, the scores are very important. We basically have numbers that, barring, bad behavior, you can figure out what that means. Yeah. You get an automatic endorsement, but we have some flexibility in there. So when I think people look at these endorsements, these are good ones. And you're right, Garrick. The bulk of them are shared by business groups across the state. So we're all working well together, and that's been part of the reason, year after year, we've been able to make Arizona the best place in the country to do business.
Courtney, many moons ago, you used to work on campaigns. Do you wonder what it's going to be like to campaign during the age of COVID this summer?
I mean, it's going to be hard to adjust. I don't know, you knocking on Zooms versus knocking on doors. I don't really know how that works. So I look forward to seeing it. But just one final comment on endorsements. I do think, the pro-business majority is really what we're looking for. We're not looking for party. I will say a lot of our priorities that we got done this session were not Republican or Democrat. We had to have both to get them across the finish line. And so I think that's what the business community values.
Yep.
Well, we look at liability reform that we want to get, and if we want to get a faster enactment, if there is a special, we're going to need bipartisan support. So, there's a very practical reality here.
That's right. All right, topic 2, Glenn, you've got a busy week ahead. Tomorrow and Thursday, you're participating in 2 things, really honing in on an issue of great importance in the here and now, and that's the issue of racial equity. Tomorrow, you're appearing virtually at the Bridge Forum. Wait, are you in the flesh tomorrow? I can't remember.
I believe that I will be in the flesh. There's going to be social distancing, but it's our friend AP Powell of Arizona has been for a number of years been putting together something called the Bridge Forum to bring the community and police departments together. And he has an incredible group of speakers tomorrow, including Reverend Dr. Benjamin Chavis, who used to be the head of the NAACP and is one of the great civil rights leaders of our time. I believe he has the police chief of Phoenix, Jerry Williams. Yep. It's going to be a very important dialogue about what we need to do going forward. We were all mortified and appalled by the murder of George Floyd. And this is a unique American moment where we're all trying to work together to modernize policing in America, but to also look at other areas where we could have equality of opportunity for all, true equality of opportunity for all. Because, Garrick, even in the recent job numbers, it was much more positive than we thought, but we still saw, big gaps between the white unemployment rate and the black unemployment rate. And this is a time where it's going to be a very I do believe it's a different conversation, a more serious conversation on race and inequality than we've had in quite some time.
Thursday, you pick up this theme again at a roundtable with the U.S. Chamber. You're a member of the steering committee on inequality of opportunity. Following that town hall, there'll be breakout sessions on a number of topics. You're really excited to be part of the steering committee.
It's a real privilege to have a chance. I'm part of it. I'm the chair of the U.S. committee, the U.S. Chamber's committee of the top 100 chambers across the country. What they've done, Garrick, is they're focusing on 4 major issues. And these are issues that chambers, including ours, have traditionally played a role in. Education, employment, entrepreneurship, and this one is certainly a later entrant, but criminal justice reform. So all 4 topics will be addressed in a very serious way. We've got a great lineup of speakers, including the head of AT&T, Randall Stevenson. It's going to be another serious effort for there to be concrete action. In fact, the day after, there's going to be a call with a number of leaders to talk about what were the learnings that we had from the Thursday conference. And I'm also going to draw on the learnings that we will have had from AP Pal's Tuesday Bridge Forum. And then what are those concrete actions that businesses could do without legislatures, what state legislatures could do, what city councils could do, what mayors could do, and then of course what the United States Congress and the administration can do. So we've got a lot of work, but I feel it's a privilege to have a chance to be engaged and for the Arizona Chamber of Commerce and Industry to play a role as well.
Let's make sure after those events wrap up that we get the full report from you, because this will be an ongoing conversation, but it's going to be interesting to hear what kind of feedback you get at these 2 events.
Well, I should say it looks like there's well over 500 chambers and trade associations that have signed on as partners of the U.S. Chambers Initiative, including ours. And there will be many thousands of people all across the country watching and participating in the different workshops that will immediately follow the 2 hours plenary session. So we're rolling up our sleeves, we're listening, we're learning, and we're going to make our country a better country and a more inclusive one.
Great. Well, thanks, Glenn. Looking forward to that report. Before we wrap here, Courtney, is everybody wearing masks in San Diego County? She's
Cars
muted.
I see with the masks on their mirror. It's very great.
Good.
I love it.
Good. Glenn, did you wear a mask this weekend?
I'm trying to think if I was anywhere outside. I don't know if I wore a mask this weekend because I believe I stayed within the sort of the Hammer household premises.
Yeah.
But Garrick, when I'm out there tomorrow at the Bridge Forum, I'm going to have my custom-made Liz Grigg, that's Allison Gilbreth from our shop's mom's Arizona mask as my accessory.
All right. Good.
How about you, Garrick? Did you wear a mask this
I
weekend?
went to get gas this weekend. I did wear a mask. I mean, I was outside, obviously, getting gas. I don't know if it was necessary, but, you know, I'll wear it just cause.
Better to be safe than sorry, and it's the right thing to do.
Courtney, the commissioner of baseball says that he's going to put forward a 60-game plan. The Padres are going to be wearing brown this year. Are you excited? Did they wear brown last season, or is this brown back?
Only on Fridays, I think they wore brown, but they're going the throwback the whole season, and I love it.
Hold on, we're not talking the banana one, the Dave Winfield from the Dave Winfield days?
Yes, they're coming back.
Oh, yeah.
I have to admit, it's horrendous, but I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
I don't know how else to put it. It's horrendous, but I like it.
Yep. Courtney, before you were born, 84 series, Padres Tigers. Glenn, you remember that one well, don't you?
One of the great teams of all time, the 84 Tigers. wire to wire. I'm trying to think. 84. So it was Padres. Was Greg Nettles on the 84 Padres?
I don't know. You would have had the other corner. You would have had Garvey at first, right?
You would have had Garvey at first.
Yeah, probably Terry Kennedy at the dish. Gosh, what a team. Gary Templeton maybe on that team?
Yeah, Templeton. I remember the division series. You had Rick Sutcliffe, who was on fire.
Right.
That whole.
Yeah. Well,
great.
Oh, I was going to say, since I am at my childhood home, 1998 World Series.
There you go.
Courtney, family there,
Right.
Padres.
And I hate to tell you, Courtney, as a Bronx boy, we know what happened there. We know what happened there.
It wasn't great, but it was fun.
No, they were good. They were a really, really good team. That Padres team, but the Yankees, that was probably the best of that. That was the best of the Yankee teams of the '90s. So what can you do?
Well,
It's good to get to the World Series. How about that?
Yeah, it's true. It was a buzzsaw. What are you going to do? All right. Well, Courtney, keep us posted with all the latest from Petco if these guys ever get back.
Will do.
Thanks. All right, Glenn, we'll have you on for analysis if the season ever starts up again.
Well, I like the D-backs' chances. I'll just say that. I love what they've done with the pitching. It's a strong team. So let's hope they play, and we hear those beautiful words, play ball.
60 games. All right, guys, we will check in with you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.